How's it going, everyone? I hope you're all doing well, and in 2 weeks, it'll mark the 2-year point from when I switched from Spotify over to Apple Music. Now, I have made a video in the past about what it's been like switching over to Apple Music, but seeing as many of you have actually requested an update at this point, I thought I'd talk about what Apple Music's been like over the past few years, what other services I've used, and if I have any plans to switch over to any of them. So, let's talk about it. First of all, I want to quickly talk about why I initially switched. The first reason was that I knew I was going to be switching over to an iPhone pretty soon, and I was simply interested to check out Apple Music. The second reason is that I heard Apple Music actually pays artists slightly more than Spotify. As somebody who does very much enjoy music, but also primarily streams their music, I thought that Apple Music might be a good way to help artists make a little bit more money. And the final reason was simply I wanted to watch Endless by Frank Ocean. That's a real reason and a real pull factor for me switching over to Apple Music. Again, being totally honest in this video, that was a key factor for me switching over to Apple Music. Anyway, now that's out of the way, let's talk about what I've liked in this period. The first thing that I really liked about Apple Music is the iCloud syncing. Not only does this mean that your library is updated across your devices on which you're using Apple Music, but that also means that if you have loaded offline files into Apple Music on your desktop, for example, such as some good old-fashioned pre-Barnum TFB, then so long as you have got iCloud syncing enabled, these will be automatically available on your phone, no downloads required, and that is awesome. As a digital minimalist, I love centralizing my files wherever possible, and it just seems that Apple Music has made this easier than Spotify, and while I have personally heard of plenty of workarounds for Spotify, I personally do just prefer how it works on Apple Music. Next up, we have the download management system. I love how easy it is to manage downloads, and as somebody who actually downloads a fair amount of music, then later removes it, having this as an important feature versus just playing all of my music off the internet is excellent, because it means that if I go into an environment where I know I'm not going to have any signal, I will still be able to access all of my music. Don't get me wrong, I am fully aware that Spotify does also allow downloading. However, I've just found Apple Music's to be a little bit more intuitive. After this, we have the lyrics feature, which is by far and wide one of my favorite features that Apple Music has specifically over Spotify. I do like how you can simply scroll through your lyrics, tapping on one, and then your phone will bring you to that point in the song. Granted, this did take Apple a while. I don't think it was available to like iOS 13. The last time I used Spotify Premium, the lyrics were linked up with Genius, and while that is a nice novelty, back when I was using Spotify, I never found a way to turn off Genius annotations, which was very frustrating if I wanted to hear what a lyric said. Another feature that was recently added was the widget support with iOS 14. Now, I know the Spotify app does give you a custom widget that you can use with iOS 14. However, having that compatibility out of the box and being able to see what you're listening to, and if you want to continue where you left off, you can simply tap on the widget and be brought back to the album you were previously listening to. I think this is actually one of the reasons why I personally do like Apple Music so much. As I said before, I do predominantly listen in albums versus playlists, and I think this is where Apple Music really shines. Spotify is definitely more playlist oriented, and it is so much better in that regard. We're gonna get to that, but I definitely think Apple Music is far superior if you prefer to listen in albums. Finally, and I know it's a small one, but I do really like the UI of Apple Music. It feels less like a streaming service and more like a traditional music listening app, so I find that navigating it to find exactly what I'm looking for significantly easier than on specifically Spotify. I also like little things like the change from light to dark mode automatically. Again, I think that got added in iOS 13, and it's just little things like that that make me personally prefer Apple Music's look and feel overall. Okay, so now we got the good things out of the way, we are going to be talking about the things that I don't necessarily like about Apple Music, because there are a few. It is not perfect. For one, I really don't think the interface on non-Apple products is very good. Now, this might seem like an obvious one, but both the Windows app and the Android app could definitely do with some work. As someone who likes to use all platforms rather than just being limited to Apple's ecosystem, this is definitely one of the biggest cons for me. Don't get me wrong, all the features still work. It's just a little bit jankier in general than the experience on iPhones and Mac computers, and so I would definitely like to see this improved in the future. The next con I found was simply the playlists. Unfortunately, if you are a playlist person, Apple's playlists really just don't compete with that of Spotify's. I found the Spotify Discover Weekly playlist to be a much more effective way of discovering music rather than any of the playlists available on Apple Music, and while the radios are a nice feature, I never really find myself using it, and while when I was on Spotify, despite not being a playlist person myself, I did occasionally find find some music that I really liked through Spotify's Discover playlists. So overall, I would like to see this improved on the Apple Music side of things. Again, as I said though, not really a playlist person myself. Also, I find most of my music through other sources anyway. But still, for a lot of people, playlists are an important feature and it will be make or break between the two. So yeah, if Apple really want to make their streaming service the best, they really need to focus on improving their playlist because it's unmatched on Spotify's side. Another huge con of Apple Music, in my opinion, is that they don't offer a free service. Now, this might not initially sound like a big deal. However, when I was looking for a streaming platform, one of the biggest things that pulled me towards Spotify is that I'd been using the free version for years. And while in my opinion, the free mobile version of Spotify completely sucks, the time that I had been able to use the free version meant that I trusted Spotify more to make a purchase of the premium version. Yeah, I get this isn't necessarily a big deal, but as I said, we are going off my personal experience, and that was, as I said, one of the biggest pulls for me to go towards Spotify. The final key con I found is a small one, but still worth mentioning nonetheless. I really don't like how Apple Music and podcasts are separated. As, again, a mega ultra double hipster minimalist, I do like to keep all my apps in one place, and while I don't use the podcast app that much, I think that Apple are actually doing a great disservice to their podcasts. Spotify centralizing their podcasts rather than creating an offshoot like Spotify Podcasts is personally a pro for me, and while again, not really much of a big deal, I would prefer it if podcasts were just a section at the bottom like the radio. Speaking of other pieces of software that I've tried over the years, I've tried many at this point. Some key ones were YouTube Music, my dad likes that, I personally don't, as well as some slightly higher end apps like Fubar 2000. Now, if you've never heard of that streaming service, that's because it's not a streaming service. It's simply a desktop and Android music player that can play some crazy high resolution audio files. Some of my friends who are like really into audio swear by Fubar, and while I did certainly enjoy it for the time that I used it, I was primarily looking for a music listening service that also had streaming options, which I think is why I went with Apple Music. So yeah, we discuss pros and cons of each. If you want to make a decision off this video, I would suggest against that. Try both for yourself and see what you like. But those are some key things that I've found over years of using these pieces of software. To sum up my experiences though, I think it comes down to less brand loyalty and more how you like to listen to music. As I said before, I wanted a music listening app that also had some streaming features, whereas I definitely think Spotify is a music streaming service. I mean, it is. I think this is why I personally do prefer Apple Music and am planning to use it throughout 2021. Alright guys, so that's it for today. Let me know, by the way, what your favorite streaming service is. I always like reading your comments. As for now though, as always, thank you for watching. Remember to like the video if you want to see more content like this, and smash that subscribe button. I'm done for now, and I will see you guys in the next one.